You mentioned something that in one of your interviews, you said gangs operate differently from the mob. So you primarily focused on gangs. We've had a lot of past mob figures come onto our show. So for those people that are listening who are very intrigued with the mob world, tell us how organized crime differed from the gangs.
Well, organized crime, you know, as the name suggests, is more organized. They typically have a little bit more pre-established hierarchy. They typically live by codes and rules that are identifiable and adhered to within the organization for the most part. Gangs are much more loose. Gangs are much more spontaneous. Gangs are much less organized. And although they may have some kind of, perceived hierarchy, it really doesn't work like that in the real world. They all kind of operate independently. When it's convenient, they come together and operate collectively. They typically don't have the intellectual capabilities of thinking in very structured ways. Most of these kids are, for the most part, uneducated. They live in a very difficult environment, and that environment informs their worldview. It informs their mentality, and they don't think in logical processes. So it's a mentality difference. It's an environmental difference, and it's a sophistication difference between street gangs and organized crime.
Okay, and with regards to, I want to connect it to snitching, and the reason why I got to connect it to snitching is the most common comments that we get on our mob videos is people just say snitch or you rat or whatever the case may be to the guests that we have on the show, when in reality probably a lot of those people would snitch themselves. But you gave an interesting percentage. You said about 75% of people would probably snitch. But in your viewpoint, is this question even relevant? Who would be more likely to snitch? Someone from the mob or someone from a gang?
Somebody from a gang.
Okay.
Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
Well, A is that let's say within organized crime and the mob, there's a sense of loyalty that that for instance, if you keep your mouth shut, you do your time, you don't inform against other co-conspirators or against the organization, they'll take care of your family. They'll look after your family, and they'll probably look after you when the time comes for you to reintegrate. So, you have to weigh the risks versus rewards. In the gangs, it's really every man for himself, and they don't take care of each other. You go to prison or you go to jail, you're forgotten about. Nobody's taking care of you. Nobody's taking care of your family. They just, so there's no reason not to look out for yourself. And oftentimes looking out for yourself means doing what is best for you, which is cooperating, getting the some type of mitigation on your sentence, oftentimes not even having charges filed. And so, it's more of an individualistic perception or more of an individualistic mindset than with the mob or with organized crime where it's corporate.